Hi everyone and welcome to another Gaffer and Gear. Today we're going to be looking at the Aputure 12 light production kit as well as their new iPad app. Alright, so this is going to be a relatively quick video because I've already reviewed the lights. But just to give you a quick recap on them, they had an average CCT accuracy of 78 Kelvin. The average TM30 color vector score was 94. That's the average, not the top. The average was 94. And the delta UV accuracy was typically plus or minus 0.0002, which means they were almost on pure white all the time across the Kelvin range. Absolutely staggering. The lights are also full RGB WW and have a built-in battery that can run for 2 hours. Now, they're not the brightest light, they're not the brightest pocket light on the market, but they do a heck of a lot for their price, and their capabilities with the phone app is amazing. So I'll quickly run you through scenarios where I use these handy pocket lights. Product shots with glassware and bottles. I love these lights. So in this setup here, to get a nice backlight glow through the liquids, I just put 2 pocket lights on the bench. Now the beautiful thing about pocket lights is they've got internal batteries, so you don't have to run cables. So I've used these in lockers, in safes, and in ovens. In this scene, for example, dinner gets burnt, and the problem we had on the first take was that you couldn't see the smoke in the oven because it wasn't backlit. Now this is where portable lights like this come in super handy. At the time we filmed this, we used the predecessor to this, the ALM9. Now if we were shooting that scene today, I'd be doing it with the MC because the MC is magnetized. It would take 2 seconds to get into the oven, and I'd be able to control it off my phone app. Now, one thing I really like about these MCs is they come with these silicon dome diffusers that take the light from looking like a film and television light and make it look like a practical light source. I use this quite a bit in kitchen scenarios where we need light, but we can't get it out of shot. So it actually looks like it's part of a fridge, for example. And because these have magnets on the back, I was even able to stick them to the front of a car to make it look like an unmarked police vehicle. Now where I use these little lights a lot is in practical lamps like this, but without the dome, they look like an LED light's been put inside the fixture. But if you have the dome, it gives you that that big solid light source, that singular light source. So it actually looks like you've got a full-size globe in there. So that's where the silicon dome can come in really, really handy. The other place I use the silicon dome a lot is if I want a candle effect, because these lights have a fire mode in them. So I just put that on. So these 2 are already set to fire mode. Now what I found is if you put 2 of these side by side and have the timing and the effect different, it looks like you've got a candle licking. So where I use these quite a bit is, say we're doing a romantic candle-lit dinner scene or something like that, and we get the camera in for the close-up, and the director wants a little bit more candle flicker. These come in superb for that because you can put them next to the candle. They're small enough that it still looks like a candle light, and they're small enough that they don't interfere with the actors. You know, the actors can still act. This isn't distracting for them being in their eye line because it's about the same size as a candle. So I use them a heck of a lot in that scenario. Now to give you an idea of just how much I actually use pocket LED lights, I've gone to the effort of making up a grips kit specifically for these type of small lights. So that's my little grips kit there. So a grips kit like this is quite easy to set up, quite cheap. You can find most of this on eBay. So, little magic arms. So a lot of those. Nano clamps. Now what I found is by the Chinese nano clamps, they last longer than the genuine ones. So I bought the genuine ones originally. They all fell apart. These Chinese ones years later are still going. You can get little things like these little tripod legs. Okay, so that comes in handy if you're working on a tabletop. So you just screw the light on top, use it on a tabletop. But what I use a lot is I got some metal plates and I just put ball mounts on them. Okay, so I use these a heck of a lot, particularly for like that candlelit scene, for example. So I'll just put them on the little plate here, put that next to the candle, just give myself a bit more space, and angle it to where I want it to be. Okay, and there you go. So, little grips kit comes in really handy, but that's how often I use these. I'm not making up that these are versatile and I use them a lot. I use these so often that I've set up a grips kit. Now where the 12 kit is really going to come in handy for me is using these lights as accent fixtures. So this is an example of accent fixtures. So I'm making it look like there are down lights where down lights don't exist. So how I mounted lights like this to the bottom of the cupboard was with these things called gel pads. So these are designed for mounting mobile phones to dashboards. So there's all different brands out there on eBay, but after buying a lot and throwing a lot out, I've stuck with a brand called Fixture. Their ones seem to work really well. So you just stick it to the back of the light and then thump it to the bottom of the surface you want it to stick to, and it'll stay there as long as you need it to. Now the beautiful thing is that these are washable and reusable. Now here's where the 12 kit is really going to come in handy for me. There's a lot of times where I get to a location and I think, well, it would be really nice to put accent lights in, but the batteries go flat after 2 hours, and if we're there for 6 hours, it's not going to work. But the 12 kit could save the day. Now when Aputure announced they were going to make this kit, I got really excited because I thought this would be the perfect kit for me. Now you might be thinking, where on earth would I use 12 small LEDs? Well, I wouldn't use all 12 at once. So don't think of it as a 12 light kit, because that doesn't really make sense, because the internal batteries only run 2 hours at full power. Then what do you do after that? Well, you're pretty much stuffed. But if you think about it as a 4 light continuous running kit, this makes a whole heap of sense. So what I mean by that is you've got your 4 lights that can run off batteries, and when they go flat, you put them on charge, and then grab the next 4 lights, and then when they go flat, you put them on charge, you grab the next 4 lights, and when they go flat, these ones are already recharged. So you can never run out of batteries as long as you've got them on charge. All right, so that makes a lot of sense. All right, now the next thing to point out about this box is actually the wireless charging station. All right, so you literally just put the light on the box and it'll start to charge if you've got it turned on and plugged in. Now also, you get a little side compartment here full of goodies. Let's have a look. Okay, so you get 4 of these ball mounts. You get 8 bits of Velcro for mounting, which I've never used. And you get 4 of these silicon diffusers. So the silicon diffusers, I'll just very quickly explain. So they don't make the light any softer because they haven't made the light source any bigger. But what they do is instead of having a whole stack of little emitters, the silicon cover here becomes the light source, and you only get one set of shadows, or one shadow, one light source. So that's handy for reflections, handy in close, things like that. All right, so you get 4 of those silicon diffusers, and of course you also get some cables. Now you get your mains power cable, so let's plug that in. So on the side of the box is an IC connection. Plug into that, flick the on switch, and you're going. Now when you're charging, you need to keep the lid open, otherwise it'll overheat. But you don't need to worry about anybody knocking the box over and your lights going flying everywhere, because they're all magnetized. You literally have to pick them up to get them out of the box. Now, red means you're charging, green light means you're charged. So pretty straightforward. But what if you don't have access to mains power? Well, on the side of the box, there's also a D-tap connector. So you can run the whole lot off a V-mount battery. Now, I've tried stressing the system. So what I've done is I've flattened all of the lights, put them all on charge at the same time, and plugged additional things into the outlets here to see if the battery systems could handle it. So this is a 290 watt-hour battery. It charged the whole lot, no problem at all. Now, I've also chucked into my kit a little extra from another company. This is made by Tether Tools, and it's called a car to D-tap adapter. So you can use this to charge the system off your car when you're traveling from location to location. Now let's talk about charging times. If you're charging wirelessly, you're looking at about 3.5 hours charge time. If you need to charge faster than that, then you can use some of the USB cables that are supplied. You get 2 USB-C cables and you've got 3 USB-C ports. If you charge the light off the USB-C port, you can now charge the light in 2 hours. Now the lights are intelligent enough that if you're charging them off the cable, you can't simultaneously charge them off the wireless and damage the system. Now one thing to point out with this, it's built into a very robust case, but it is not waterproof. You've got to remember this is a device, not a case. Okay, so it has air vents on the front and air vents around the back. Now the air vents are quite big, so clearly this is not designed to be used out in the rain, but what concerns me is people rocking up, say I've got this out on a rental, someone rocking up at a house that they're going to film in, which is inside in the dry, and they're sitting in their car, which is nice and dry, but in between the car door and the front door of the location, it's raining. So I'd be concerned about people carrying it this way up and water getting into the vents. So if I was carrying this into a location and it was raining or spitting, I would be carrying it this way up to minimize any water getting into the air vents. Now, it did concern me when I first looked at it, the size of the air vents, and looking in you could see electronics. So I did take it upon myself to crack this unit open and have a look inside. So I took it apart and plugged it in and ran a vault alarm over everything. So all of the electronics that are close to the air vents that you can see looking in, all of those electronics are low voltage DC. In fact, the transformer is buried quite deep inside, and the transformer is sitting inside a heatsink which is earthed. All right, now let's talk about running these lights off apps. So you've got a choice of two apps. You've got mobile phone app, which is both Android and iOS. It works more reliably on the Apple version. And you've got an iPad version. So the iPad version uses all of the real estate, so you get better sliders, better console operation, things like that. And it has a once-off fee, which is about 15 Australian dollars or about 10 US dollars. The phone app is free. Now the phone app does have one advantage. It's got a mode in there where you can program sequences onto a timeline, so you can have lights going off to a set routine that you can program. So I'm not going to go into that because I'm not going to go through the phone app, but what I am going to go through is the iPad app, because that's very, very new. It just went live in the last week or so. In terms of if you want to have a look at what you can do with the phone app, I'd recommend going to another channel called Grips Tips and having a look at Dave Donaldson's video there, episode 83 I think it is. So he really dives into the phone app. I just don't have time to learn it, so I'm just going to show you this one. Now in terms of getting the lights ready to use on an app, you need to Bluetooth reset them. So the Bluetooth reset enables this to be locked to your device or to your account. So you just go through the menu until you get to BT. You click the side rocker button and then you select yes and click that. So we're going to do that with all of the lights here. All right, so let's fire up the app. Now on the home page here, I'm going to create a new scene, but don't think of it like a scene. So don't think of it as like scene changes. Think of it as a list of a gear that you're locking to. So I'm just going to click on the plus in there. Okay, then open that up. See there's a plus logo, click on that. Okay, and that's going to show all the lights that are available for me to link to. So that's all of the lights that have their Bluetooth reset. So I can select all those. Actually, I just realized I can click select all and press setup. So it takes a little bit of time to link. Now I just want to point out while this is doing this, if you lose your iPad or your iPad gets damaged and you have to borrow someone else's iPad, when you download the app, you enter in your username and password and all of your previous saves will be there. Okay, so we've successfully 100% linked to all the lights. Let's click OK, and all of the lights appear. Now what I'm going to do next is, because I'm a little bit OCD, is I'm going to name all the lights. So name them MC 1 through to 12. Now to figure out which light is which, you press the little button. Okay, so I'm going to call that light 1. So I'll just switch that around because I'm a bit OCD. So then I just click on the 3 dots and I go rename, and I'll call that MC 01. And then I'll do that for the other 10 or other 11. Okay, so now I've got all of my fixtures named 1 through to 12. Now just note down there on 12, see it's got the little M logo. So that means that's the master. So that's the one that's receiving the commands from my iPad, and then it's transmitting the commands out to the other lights. So if that one goes down, we lose the network. But if that happens, you just reconnect and it will connect to another light. So it's not the end of the world, it's just a little delay. All right, so let's have a look through this page. So this is our fixtures page. Now let's select fixture number 1, so I'll just click on that. Up the top, we've got the circles are our main operating mode. So at the moment we're in white light mode, I've got selected. So let's just turn the brightness up a little bit. I won't go up too bright, and we can select our CCT, so pretty straightforward. Okay, next one across is our gels library. This is pretty boring in the MCs, but if you had a Nova, you'd have a huge selection of gels. So in the MC units here, the gels library is only CTOs and CTBs, so pretty boring. Next one across is our color mode. So I just explained bottom right-hand corner. There are two modes of selection. You've got the circle, so let's click on that. Circle is your color wheel. Okay, so there you go. We've got a full color wheel. And if you want to put in more precise controls, you click on the sliders and you can enter in your HSI values there for more precise control. And the next one across is special effects. All right, so anyway, this page isn't where the fun is. Okay, so this is the fixtures page. Let's go to the console page. So we do that by selecting down the bottom. We've got a choice of fixture or console. So let's click on console. And this is starting to look like a little bit of fun. So let's have a look at light 1. So we've got light 1 adjustable there. Now, if I click anywhere on that slider apart from the actual physical knob, if I click anywhere on that slider or click the settings sliders up above, I get into settings mode. So let's click on that. So now I can change my color from the slider console. How cool is that? Okay, so let's put that to a red. Now let's have a play with light number 2. Let's turn that up. And let's select a color on that. So let's click on that. Let's put that to maybe a blue. Light number 3, let's put that green. So it's something easy to identify. Click on the slider anywhere, select a green. Okay, there we go. So you get the idea of it. So we can set up all the lights like that, no problem at all. All individually control their colors through the setups from the slider console. And again, we've got all 12 lights on sliders here. The only criticism I've got of this mode is there's no master slider. So what I mean by that is if we set all our individual levels and then the DOP said, Andrew, can you reduce it all 10 or 20%? I don't have a master slider where I can slide down the value of the whole lot. Okay, but what I do have is an operate all fixtures mode. So up in the top below where it says the scene, so click on that and you get a master slider. So now we can operate all of the lights because we can adjust all their brightness levels, but they're all set to exactly the same amount. Now if I click on the settings there, I can go in and change them all to the same color. So very straightforward mode of operation. Now here's where this mode is really cool. So is the effects. So let's put it to effects. Let's go, let's pick something interesting. Let's go fire. The fire effect looks really cool if you're operating it on somebody. So let's get the frequency up. Okay, so now we've got all 12 little light sources all flickering differently. That is fantastic. It really does look like a real fireplace, because a fireplace doesn't have one bit of flame doing that. You know, it's loads of different bits of flame. So I reckon if I ever use the 12 kit as 12 lights, this is how I'm going to be using it. I'll probably get a bit of metal, connect all the lights to it, use it for a fire effect. It looks really fantastic on my hand here on a face, because you've got all those individual licks of light happening. Awesome. All right, sorry, I got a bit excited. Okay, now let's get a little bit more adventurous. Let's say we want to operate the top row as a group. We can create groups. So let's exit out of this page. We have to go back to the fixtures page, click on that. Now up in the top right hand side there's a plus. So if you click on that, that gives you the option to add more lighting fixtures in or add a new group. So let's click on new group, so add on to that. And I want to add lights 1 through to 4 because that's my top row. Now if you haven't got them identified, you just press the button and it'll flash to let you know which one it is. But I know it's 1 through to 4. So let's select those and press setup. All right, now go to the bottom of the lights of list and you'll see group 1. That's the group we just set up. So let's rename that. Let's call that top row. Okay, click on the 3 dots and let's pull up the console. All right, so here we can operate those lights independently, or we can go set it up run it as a group, and let's put a different color in. So you can operate the lights individually, you can operate them as one huge group of lights, or you can set up groups. So it's a pretty good little app. Now I almost forgot, we can save things in the app. So I've got some random stuff just dialed into the lights. Let's save that now. So how you save that is you go to quick shots, which is in the top right hand corner. So you just click on that and then just click save to quick shots. Click on that. And that's saved now as quick shot 01, but we can rename that. So you just click on the 3 dots, rename it. Let's call it random. and that is now saved. Okay, so I just want to show you something here. So I've saved something else. So I've saved something I've just called rainbow, where I just put colors in. So I'll just go to quick shots, click on that, click on rainbow and click OK. So that'll recall that save. And that's loaded into the lights now. Now, if we want to go back to the one we just had, I click on quick shots, click on random, press OK, and that will now load into the lights. So you can save things as well. Okay, so let's finish off by having a look at possible issues with the kit. And the first one is a big one for rentals companies. No reverse polarity protection on the D-tap. So you might be thinking, well, why would you even need reverse polarity protection? You cannot plug a D-tap connector in the wrong way up because it's round at the bottom and square at the top. That's why it's designed in a D shape. Well, here's the problem. The tolerances between cable manufacturers and battery manufacturers is all over the place. So you can actually plug cables in the wrong way around. So I've got 3 brands of battery here, and I'm going to use the Aputure cable. So let's try this one first. So this is correct way up, correct way. Let's go incorrect way. Okay, so that went in pretty easy. Let's go to the next brand of battery, correct way, incorrect way. Let's go to our 3rd brand of battery, correct way. Now the interesting thing is I can see that this battery has got a thinner slot around the D. Okay, so let's try the incorrect way up. No, can't get it in. Okay, so no problem there. Okay, let's try a different brand of cable just to show it's not a cable issue. It's a everything's designed bad issue across brands. So this is an expensive American brand. Okay, so correct way, incorrect way, correct way, incorrect way, correct way, nah. almost got it in, but nah. So you can see there, 2/3 of the batteries I've got here, you can actually plug a D-tap connector around the wrong way. So something to be aware of. So if you're an owner operator, just check that whether this plugs into your batteries the wrong way around. Don't have it plugged into the case when you do it, of course. Just have both ends disconnected and then try it and see. And if it does connect in wrong, well, label it up really, really well, or don't use it, one of the two. Okay, so the next possible concern is I think it's only going to affect Australian gaffers, and that is for test and tagging. So this is a plastic case. All of the metal on the outside, which consists of, as far as I can see, only these 2 screws that go into the case, they're insulated. I've taken the thing apart and had a look inside. It's clearly a double insulated design device. So no worries at all. It'll pass a test and tag as a double insulated device, piece of cake. But here's the problem, technicality. It doesn't have the double insulated logo on the compliancy sticker here. So as a technicality, we can't test it as a Class 2 electrical device. We have to test it as a Class 1, which of course it'll fail because it doesn't have a metal earthed casing. So a little technicality there. So I'm willing to bet that that's going to be resolved with a new sticker. Anyway, I'm Andrew Locke. See you on the next episode of Gaffer in Gear. Take care, everybody, and remember to wear your masks.